Good morning. Happy Monday. Jennifer Lopez here with you for this week's little piece of goodness. I hope you all had an absolutely fabulous weekend. I know I did. As you can see, I got some sun. My best friend and her cute little kids and her mom are all in town, so we went to the beach and had an awesome time. So, I hope your weekend was amazing as well. So today's little piece of goodness, the blame game. Let me tell you about the blame game. Okay. So the other day I was doing my Bible time in the morning, and as I'm like reading through, I'm starting from the beginning, right? And working my way through. So it was Adam and Eve, like the beginning. No jokes, the beginning. But it was Adam and Eve, and it was at the point where God's like, okay, so how do you guys know you're naked? Like, what did you guys do? And so he goes to Adam, like, what did you do? He's like, oh, it was her. It was Eve. She told me to eat from it, so I did. And then so he goes to Eve, and he's like, Eve, come on now. What are you doing? And she's like, oh, it was a serpent. He told me to do it. He said it was okay. And it dawned on me, like, from literally the very beginning of time, we've been putting blame on other people. We just blame other people because you know what? It's easy. It's super easy to blame other people. It's always better, instead of taking our own actions and saying, oh yeah, that was me, it's my fault, my bad. We say, oh, it was their fault. Oh, they told me to do that. Oh, I'm in this situation because they did that. How many of you are guilty of blaming somebody else? I think we all are. Raise your hands. So I think one of the really big things is that we are guilty of is blaming our past. Oh, I'm this way because I was raised like this. Oh, I was raised in a broken home. Oh, there was abuse. Oh, there was this. I wasn't encouraged. Whatever your past junk is, because we all have past junk, I feel like a lot of us easily can place blame on who we are today because of our past. I know at times I'm guilty of it. I try to get through that and be like, all right, well, my past has like made me actually a better person of who I am. Let it create a better person. So for example, one of my favorite little success stories, like overcoming your past things, is Edgar's story. So he was raised in a family that didn't have a lot of money. His parents, didn't go to school. It was not instilled in him that school was super important. His parents split up when he was 9 years old, and he went and lived with his dad. And, it's very much work for today and, school's for the future, so you need to survive today. So he grew up in a neighborhood that was filled with drugs and gangs and stealing things and all that. So statistically, he should have grown up to be the same. To be, I grew up in a gang member. It was all around me with all the gangs, so that's all I knew. Or he could have said, oh, well, they all did drugs, like, I just did them too, and it could have been this downward spiral, and just, he could have had a completely different life. But instead, his dad instilled him into work, since he was like 7 years old, which is amazing. But Edgar did not let his past determine who he is today. So he decided, he's one of the oldest kids, he's one of 10 kids. So out of the oldest kids, the 6th oldest, he's the only one that's went to school and finished school, went back and has a degree. He keeps moving up. He'll start at the bottom of a job and work his way up, go into bigger and better things. Because that's what he decided to do. He decided to overcome the past. He's never touched a drug in his life. He's like, okay, well, he learned from them. He said, okay, I'm not going to be like that. Just because they're like that doesn't mean I'm going to. So he overcame that, and he's like an awesome, amazing, wonderful man. Because, you guys that know him know he's absolutely fabulous. So, but he decided to not blame his past, not blame the way he was raised, but to become a better person. Another thing, reactions. How many times does somebody say something or do something and we're like, they said this and I'm so mad, blah, like, guilty. In fact, this just happened the other day where Edgar had done or said something that, he does and says, and I'm like, And I got mad and I did what I do and say what I say and frustrated. And there's this moment of like, just, So later on, I'm sitting and I'm thinking about it. I'm like, okay, because that first thought in my head, well, it was his fault. He said that. He did that. It made me mad. It was him. He made me mad. That was his fault. The thing is, okay, yes, people are going to do things. They're going to do things. They're going to say things. They're going to make you mad. But that should not be your reaction. Your reaction is your control. Reactions are our control. Somebody can do something or say something that upsets us or makes us angry. Take it, accept it, move on. It's up to us how we react. So for me to snap back or to be upset or be angry because, oh, he started it, like, that's not okay, because I'm in control of myself and my reactions. And nobody's perfect. Everybody has their thing that they do or they say or whatever happened, but it's that we are taking responsibility from those actions. How many of y'all have kids too? What's the first thing when you have little kids that are fighting or they're, screaming at each other or they're crying? What do they say? You go up to them, what happened? Oh, it was his fault. Oh, he did it. Oh, it was my sister's fault. She did it. Since they're kids, we do that. It's because blame is easier than accepting and being like, oh no, I screwed up. I said something I shouldn't have said. I did something I shouldn't have done. Since we're kids, we're doing that. So yeah, let's take action of our reaction. Oh, I like that. Take action of your reaction. So there's, again, so many times we are placing blame. Another great story. As you know, Edgar's in a wheelchair. He's a paraplegic. Thanks to somebody shooting him to try to steal his motorcycle. So we could easily be like, oh, it's their fault he's in a wheelchair. Oh my gosh, it's their fault. Like, they did this. Okay, yes, somebody made a really, really bad choice and shot him. But what happens is when we sit in that blame, say, oh, it's his fault or it's their fault, then it comes over this whole bitterness comes around that. And there's this bitterness that can literally eat you whole. So you know what? Edgar and I, thank God, by the grace of God, have not been bitter about this from day one. We understand that there's bad things that happen in the world. There's people that make bad decisions. Yes, it is their fault that he's in a wheelchair because they made a bad decision. But we're not going to dwell on that. We're going to move forward and say, you know what? Okay, it happened, it is, and let's keep going. Because bitterness will literally eat you whole. And that happens constantly when you're looking at what other people are doing and just putting that blame on them and saying, oh, it's their fault. You get stuck in this really, really, really nasty bitterness. And bitterness goes into so many other parts of your life. It's not worth it. Bitterness eats you alive from the inside out. It's definitely not worth it. I love one of those sayings where it talks about like anger and bitterness is like eating poison yourself, because it doesn't affect the other person, it affects you. And you can find blame everywhere. No matter what circumstance it is, no matter who it is, you will always, 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 always be able to blame someone else or something else. It always can be something else's fault. So what I encourage us to do, and this is something that is a constant thing you have to constantly work on, instead of saying, oh, it's their fault, or it's because this happened to me, see what you're doing, see what it is, and change it. Better yourself. So if you know that every time he says that one thing, I get so pissed off, instead of looking at him, oh, well, he keeps saying that thing, and it makes me angry. Instead, being like, okay, every time he says a thing, I am getting pissed off. I am getting mad. My reaction is not okay. So change that, because you can't change the other person. Change yourself. Like, okay, I know that that's my hot spot. I know that's one of my little buttons. He's going to push it. I'm going to take a deep breath. And I'm not going to let it affect me. I'm not going to say it's his fault, because it is also my fault for reacting to something else. You see what I'm saying? So, yes, that's my word to you today. What was that what is the thing I said? I'm gonna have to go back and watch the replay. The action, take action to your reaction, reaction to your action. There was something I said. It was really good in the beginning. This is what happens with the live video. It just comes out. So the things just come out. So take action of your reaction. I think that's what it was. Something like that. Anyways, you get it. You get it, guys. You go back to the beginning and watch it again. Nice thing about videos. But yes, so stop blaming. Don't play the blame game. Accept where we're at in life. Use things that happen to better ourselves, to learn from. And let's not be bitter people that blames everybody else. And let's change and be the best that we can be and be blissfully beautiful. All right, guys, have a great day. Enjoy your week.